Hi everyone, my name's Bell. I'm an in-house solicitor at West Midlands Police. My official title is commercial lawyer. Outside of the day job, I am the co-chair of the Birmingham Solicitors Group, which is a professional networking group for junior lawyers across the Birmingham and West Midlands region. At the national level, I'm a council member at the National Law Society, where I represent junior lawyers from 0 to 6 years PQE. In terms of my career journey for this video, I did my undergraduate law degree at the University of Birmingham. I then went on to do my LPC at the University of Law. I did my training contract at Trowers and Hamlins off the back of a vacation scheme. After my training contract, I then qualified at DNA Piper in the Birmingham office. After a year and a half, I then made the move to in-house and public sector to where I am now, so West Midlands Police. So I've been asked to talk about social media, and I think the journey for me started when I was at university, so being part of student societies. I was part of the Sikh Society as their PR officer, so very much learnt the basics of social media and kind of interacting with people online from there. In terms of a pure professional perspective, I think in my second year of undergraduate university life, that's where I picked up the use of LinkedIn for professional purposes. I started to realize that people were using it for work experience opportunities, jobs, both full-time and part-time, and then looking at LinkedIn for things like events and articles. So LinkedIn, it's probably one of the most professional social media platforms out there. People, including myself, often use it as a virtual CV. So they'll add work experiences, certificates, qualifications, and more. I've seen it used for formal events, so formal professional events, whether it's hosted by organisations, law firms, professional bodies, and people are using it more and more to share jobs and opportunities. So that's why LinkedIn is fairly important now. So just some top tips when it comes to LinkedIn and indeed across social media. So I think the first one is good photos. If you want to share an idea, a thought, it's always good for it to be captured in a photo. A good photo will attract more kind of viewers or your audience. Alongside good photos is always concise text. I don't think anyone really goes to social media to read long form. I think stick long form content in emails, but when it comes to social media, keep it as concise as possible. Add value. I think if you can share an experience or a piece of knowledge that someone may not have had the opportunity to get, then I think it's always good if you can add that value in your posts. And then just at the bottom, some very basic things. So posting at good times. I think if you really want traction on social media, you have to post at times where people are more available and will have time to digest your content. It's been a bit skewed because of the pandemic, but I think depending on where you are in terms of your career, you'll have a gauge as to when people kind of start their kind of studying or their lectures or their seminars or even their part-time work, when they finish, when they have breaks, but try to kind of gauge when it's a good time for you and your target audience. And then lastly there, tag relevant people. It's super easy. If you've ever been to an event or gone to something where there's a speaker, don't be afraid to tag them just to show that there's some relevance and maybe you'll get some interaction back and forth. Just some practical points. So especially on professional platforms, it's always good to have a complete profile. That way it makes you look more legitimate and people are more inclined to interact with you. Have a clear profile picture to clearly see who you are. And so when you do meet people in real life, they can actually connect the dots. Add your comments. Don't be afraid to do that when you are on LinkedIn, whether it's something that you are really interested in, an area which you work in, your region, and way more other elements. Message people. If you've ever had a good interaction with someone at an event, don't be afraid to follow up and don't be afraid to interact, whether it's with legal recruiters, people doing surveys. So yeah, message people. And very much linked into that, don't be afraid to post. I think very early on, a lot of juniors are very shy to post or just share their feelings or comments on things. But I'd say as long as you're professional and you're positive, I would say don't be afraid to post. Things to avoid. As it's a professional platform, make sure you are professional at all times. Treat it as being in the workplace. Anything that you wouldn't do in the workplace, don't do on social media. Don't share everything. I think some people do confuse professional social media with personal social media, but you'd have to gauge your own kind of boundaries and what's acceptable for you and what's not acceptable for you. Respect other people's views. Very much linked to point one, be professional. We all have different kind of views and opinions, and very much in the workplace, we have to respect other people's views. And then lastly, your professional obligations. So speaking to a legal audience here, be aware of the SRA rules and the SRA principles whenever you post content or whether you comment. So just be aware of that. Last but not least, a big thank you for listening to this. Thank you to the University of Law. I've popped on some of my social media handles there. So I'm on LinkedIn, Instagram, and X. So yeah, drop me a follow, drop me a message if you have any further questions. And thank you for listening.